This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
The sun is just starting to poke through as we look off into the east there. Beautiful morning, I suppose, is going to come our way, and I'm very excited, everyone. I hope that you are too. Lots of plans this morning for both Lauren and I, and all the other areas that we'll be taking you to. We have lions, cheetahs, everybody's looking for something very, very special. And we're excited, so hop on board, everyone, for your live safari through the African bush. So happy to have you on board with me. My name is Trishal. I've got lovely Darren on camera with me this morning, and we are heading towards the north for the moment, and we're listening out mostly for some cool sounds. There we're looking off into the east. The sun hasn't really popped out just yet, but I'm sure it will and warm us up a little bit. It's about 12 degrees Celsius, 53 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's a lie, though. I think it's about a degree or two colder than that. Either way, it is going to warm up, so I'm happy about that. Now, this is your live safari, everyone, so use that hashtag WildEarth. You can also use @FC on the YouTube chat stream. You can go to our website. You can register and use our questions and comments box. And if you're under 18, please use kids' questions at wildearth.tv. Give us all your questions and comments. We would love to hear from you. Now, we do have a bit of a rolling start, and that's because I want to get up to the cut line. It's a great place to start on the main roads because that can give you an idea of any animals that are coming in or have gone out. So before you start tracking in the middle of the reserve, you want to see what your options are, what you could find in or out. Often I find myself tracking only to find out that it's the tracks have led me all over the place and then out of the reserve. So it's always helpful to know what's gone out and what's coming. I would love to see some elephants today. I would obviously love to see some spots today. But last night the Telematis were up towards Buffelshoek. Marips was there, Chitwa. There wasn't much else in terms of predator movement. So hopefully this morning things will pop out. I love when things just pop out of the bush. That's the best. It makes you feel like you're at the right place at the right time. So once we pop up onto the crest, we're going to stop for a little bit and have a listen. It's a good time in the morning to do that. So while I move in that direction, I'm going to send you over to have a look at the weather at our other locations.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the other Djuma feed. That is Team Windy. We're just admiring the skyline. And also, my hands are frozen in this position, so there's not really much I can do other than drive right now. My name is Lauren. I do have Davi on the camera. Davi, your fingers are exposed. Look at these gloves. My gloves are definitely better, I must say. We're just bumbling. We're going to head south, possibly into the Chitwa area. Now that Chitwa's back up and running, I'm so overjoyed by that. And I believe Miss Tlalamba was on Chitwa last night, which I have to say is most unusual. Really, really unusual. The guys in the south will be overjoyed that they get to see Miss Tlalamba. But really, I've never seen her in Chitwa before, or at least far into Chitwa. She sort of dipped her paws into the little area below Gowrie Main, but not far into Chitwa. So if Trishala had Mareebs yesterday on Chitwa, and now Tlalamba's gone into Chitwa, what are you doing, Miss Tlalamba? Is Moya still around? Is Moya putting any pressure on her? I mean, Moya's not territorial here, but she's a much older leopardess. Or is Tlalamba just wandering? Is she just exploring? I really do not know, but I am heading south. Hopefully my fingers will start working soon. That would be joyous. And hopefully we bump into a leopard. Apparently there was a leopard sawing around the dam cam, but I mean, that microphone picks up audio from really, really far. And we checked all the roads around the dam cam, and there's no leopard tracks. So it definitely wasn't from the sort of immediate vicinity around the dam cam, at least. And that's a wonderful thing about winter. Audio travels, but it's also a little bit tricky to follow up on. Okay, we're going to keep driving, hopefully warm up a little bit, but we are going to send you over to Phinda, where Dean would like to say good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Excuse the wind in the mic, it's quite windy up here. We've come to the western side of the reserve, right on top of one of the mountains. My name is Dean, and behind the camera we've got Johan. As you can see, we're quite high up, and we're just waiting for that sun just to start rising on the other side of the mountain there. A little bit windy up here, but I do think it's going to be worth it once that sun comes up. The other reason we decided to come right on top of this mountain is to scan a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, we've come to the western side and we haven't heard too many updates for the morning, so what we'll do, we'll just use our binoculars and just scan right around us and see what we can find. Normally a good area for herds of buffalo, so we're hoping we can spot some of them from up top here. Debbie's saying she's looking forward to seeing some spots on Phinda, so am I. So, not only a good place for buffalo, but also cheetah. That's the other reason we came here. As you can see, it's open grassland, an area they tend to prefer a little bit more than the thicker areas. So we're going to be on the search for cheetah also. And hopefully we come right. So we're going to carry on scanning, see what we can find, but in the meantime you're going to head over to Trishala.
We are in the presence of two massive elephant bulls. There's one, and the second one has just popped out into the road in front of us, and this one is actually even bigger. He's huge. The tusks are so thick. It's quite cool this morning, so yep, Darren's going to give it a bit of a wipe there. The other one's just moved behind us, so we're going to have to stick with this view at the moment. These two are really, really tall. I know we haven't got a good look at their actual faces because they've been blocked by a lot of the bush, but they have a very wide area between their tusks and between their eyes, creating that hourglass shape. And that's a good indication of their age. Both these bulls are probably in their mid to late 30s. I'm just letting the other one pass behind us before I move, so we can give him a space to actually pass. I always find that big bulls are such gentlemen, gentle elephant, and yeah, you get it. So I'm just going to tuck in here and hopefully be able to get another view of them. If not, we'll move on.
Morning everyone, welcome back to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where we are waiting for that sun to come up on the other side of the mountain there. It's quite a nice view of this mountain rift here. It's called the Lubombo Mountain Range. It's quite amazing to see how the terrain changes from either side of the mountain. On this side we tend to get a lot more open grassland, and it switches from flat areas to high mountain peaks. Definitely not a bad way to start your day, that's for sure. There, it's just starting to come up now.
A warm welcome to all our viewers here at andBeyond in Ngala. You can see it's such a beautiful morning with the waterhole that we are at, and there's quite a few hippos that we can see in the distance, and of course the sun starting to rise on this side. So I'm Nikki, I'm Be Your Ranger this morning, and on camera we have Paul. Now, just to show you where we are this morning on the reserve and what our plan is going to be, I thought let's just use the map quickly. Just going to open it again like we did yesterday, and I'll hold it like this and see if we can move closer. Now, yesterday we spent quite a bit of time down in this part of the reserve here. So just to familiarize yourself with the map. So of course if you head up in a northerly direction, so if you head up the map it's north, if you head down the map it's south, if you head to the left is west, and if you head right is east. And this morning, we're actually focusing more on this area here. You'll see there's a waterhole on this side, on our eastern boundary. And so we're going to be focusing here. So this is where we had tracks of a male lion yesterday. We're going to try to see if there's any other signs of him this morning and hopefully be able to find him. Now, often early in the morning, if you move towards a waterhole, it's really nice just to scan and see if there's anything that might come down to drink, or if there's any sounds. Like if there's a male lion, you might hear that low contact call, like ooh, ooh. If there's a leopard, you might hear that rasping call. Just anything, and it's so nice and quiet. So let's just enjoy this, just a couple of seconds of just enjoying the quiet and listen to the birds. You might even hear the hippos grunting now and again. Jade, it is a beautiful scenery, I must say. Even you can see the mist coming off the water now and again. You'll see the ripples around the hippos, and even if they breathe out of their nostrils because of that warm air, and you can see the steam coming out of their nostrils. It is such a beautiful scene. Quite a few doves that are now coming down to the water's edge to come and drink some water. And just have a look at the sun coming up as well. It's just starting to peek over the horizon. In the meantime, while we enjoy this sunrise, let's head across to Mike for his good morning.
So we are also enjoying a lovely golden, potentially a little bit misty morning. It's not misty exactly where we are, but I can see the mist in the distance. The sun does look a beautiful color, which is usually meaning that it's slightly obscured by a bit of moisture. But it's cool, very cold in fact. They tell me it's 11 degrees, but I don't think that's true. I think it's probably more like 7. I'm Mike Anderson, behind the camera is Craig, and this is Ecotraining's Pridelands Conservancy. We're at Ndlovu Dam, hoping for anything that might be around the waterhole this morning. Kind of just waiting here. You can see it's very still. There's hardly a ripple on the water. You can see the reflections so beautifully. From here, we're going to head up yonder into the low foothills. I say foothills, they're not really hills, but just going to head up away from the water and see what else we can find. Hopefully something exciting for us this morning. Of course, there's lots of exciting things that happen, being that we are here walking at Pridelands, but of course you can join the other locations driving around different parts of the African bushveld. Spectacular opportunity to see all sorts of things, big and small. I thought I heard an elephant trumpeting. It was actually just Jan Hendrik zipping his pocket closed. I'm on alert right now. Last night we had elephants in our camp, breaking branches and feeding quite a long portion of the night. Typically, I would say 99 days out of 100 elephants do come to this dam. It is one of the biggest, deepest, and in fact only dams in this whole area. We've got Leopard Dam, we've got Ndlovu Dam, and then there's a waterhole in our north that's called HQ Waterhole. But apart from that, there ain't not much water in this whole area, so elephants love it. And there's lots of mud, there's plenty of green vegetation. It's really everything that the elephants need in order to live a good life. And you can see amongst this grass here, absolutely everything that you can see around here is covered in elephant dung. They are here en masse. I'd say probably between 20 and 40 elephants at least every single day come to this dam. Sometimes in dribs and drabs, males, bulls, bachelor herds, and sometimes huge groups of females and their youngsters. So Lee, keep watching. You might just get to see one of those groups of pachyderms coming down to join us. Right, well, we're going to slowly make our way along the dam wall here and up the slope on that side. In the meantime, we'll send you over to Tswalu at Djuma. Oh, you're going to stay with us a bit longer. Okay, that's cool. Djuma's having technical difficulties, and that's normal. We are in the African bushveld, and it is a remote location, so sometimes it is quite tricky. We thought we had escaped. You saw our camera went down and was filming my legs there for a moment. That's okay. These things do happen. So at the dam at the moment, there's not much going on. We see ripples in the water. That's probably some small terrapins and fish. And there's lots of bird activity, but mammals so far scarce. It sounds like Tswalu's back, and we'll send you over there.
We are actually not very far from camp. We have done a bit of a loop and come down to investigate some of the elephant audio that we heard while we were looking at those elephant bulls. And now we have some lion tracks. They don't look terribly fresh. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to park here while I let Rex pass us. Just because he'd want to look at those tracks. I don't want to drive over them while I'm busy chatting to you, etc. So what we wanted to do was kind of just look at the dam and see if the elephants were going to move in that direction, because it sounded like a breeding herd, and possibly those two bulls were following them. Hopefully there'll be some lions too. That would be awesome. Don't you just love this part of the morning? I certainly do. Feels like there's so much that can happen. Cindy, you'd like to know why are elephant bulls always alone? That's because that's how their social structure works. They don't take part in the care of youngsters, so there's no need for them to be in the presence of their young, and there's no need for them to be in the presence of a female or partner except to mate. So there's no reason for them to be together all the time. So that's why you have certain animals that do stick together as family groups and certain animals that don't. Also, the idea of male parental care or paternal parental care is not something that happens a lot in nature. It's not the most common form of care. It's usually just the mother and her female relatives. And that comes down to necessity. The male doesn't have any role in taking care of particularly elephant young. So what you'll find is you'll have breeding herds of females and their offspring, and males that'll be on their own. They will be completely on their own sometimes. Sometimes they will have other companions, male companions, but not very many. Maybe just, the most I've seen together, males, it's been about 5 or so. But males will also be in attendance of a breeding herd if they want to socialize. Because remember, I'm talking about just elephants now. Elephants are very social creatures and they need to interact with each other. So a bull that's been on his own for a little while can also just attend to a herd because he feels the need to socialize, not just to mate, but primarily he will be with a herd or follow a herd so that he can get an opportunity to mate with one of the females. Okay, these lion tracks go right past the dam wall here. I'm just going to check whether they go off to Central or towards the dam, and then we're going to follow.
Today is no ordinary day. We have many people on the vehicle. We have Dawn Rial here and we have Miss Gabby. They are holders of the Ticket to Dream.
It's a very special opportunity for us and a learning experience for Gabby.
My favorite is the wild dog because it's like painted a little bit.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My most favorite part about WildEarth is I have learned so many things and I have become interested in so many things that I never even knew about.
I'm going to ask my friends and my whole class, even my teacher, to go on safari.
We wanted to buy a Ticket to Dream because we wanted our family to have this as a special time in our lives that we can always look back and reflect on. This is a dream to be here.
Across Southern and East Africa, the Endangered Wildlife Trust works tirelessly to save species, protect critical habitats, and benefit people. Join the EWT in returning wildlife to the wild. Go to ewt.org.za to find out more and follow our socials to see how you can get involved. Protecting forever, together.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
So we haven't heard anything around that waterhole down in the Timbavati River at the moment, and you can see with the Timbavati, it doesn't really flow often. It's only when we have a lot of rain in some of the catchment areas where this river will actually flow from bank to bank. And in all my time at Ngala, no, I haven't been here for too long, but since the beginning of last year, I've only seen it flowing 3 times. And before that, I'm sure every year, like when there's a lot of rain, it will only flow for like a week, maybe 2 at the most, and then slowly start drying up. But you'll see, even as we go along, there's quite a few holes along the way. And this is from elephants coming down to dig up, or they'll start digging in the river to get to the water. The water's not deep, maybe like a meter or so, and some places might even be shallow, and then some areas, like especially the rocky sections, the water actually seeps through the sand. You can see it on the surface. So I'm just thinking for that lion we're looking out for this morning. And also, one thing that I do love about riverbeds early part of the morning is there's always a lot of tracks around. So it might be that we are looking out for lions, but if you find any fresh tracks of any animal that we are hoping to see, we can then just at least see them crossing over in this area here in the river. Must say it's nice and cool this morning. So what I was hoping to do, and I would love to hear from the viewers if you'd be keen on it. So I know there were some requests of possibly making fire with 2 sticks, and so I have brought some sticks that I have prepared for fire making. So just like to know in the comments, like thumbs up or thumbs down if you want to see that. And then we can definitely try this later on in the drive, maybe even in the next couple of minutes or so, find a nice spot and try and set it up. There are some tracks in the one part of or you'll see right in front of us, there's 2 lines in which the vehicle is driving, 2 tracks. Now on the left side, I'm going to just try and position the vehicle so we can actually show you this. I'm going to move it like this. Here we go, just so the tracker seat's not in the way. But you can see right in, like down at the bottom, there's quite a few tracks moving up in that direction. Now, from here, it will be really hard to see because I'll have to go and have a look and see if it's maybe a hyena, but another animal could possibly be, just judging by the strides, is something like a leopard. And you can see, I don't know which direction exactly because I'll have to quickly just go and investigate just to see which direction these tracks are heading. Let me quickly have a look and then I'll come plug myself in again. So I might not be able to hear for the next minute or 2, but I just want to have a look. Yeah. It does look like it's only a hyena track, so I've thought maybe initially it could have been leopard. So let me just jump in the vehicle again, put the blanket around my legs because it's nice and cool this morning. And let's carry on. I thought maybe it could have been something like a leopard, but judging by what I've seen in the sand, so leopard often when they move, they have quite clear prints. You can see the 4 toes and the pad at the back. Hyena, the toes look like they squished the sand a bit more. It's more of an untidy track, and that's what I can see now. But always keep a good look, because I mean, even if it's a hyena in the area, you'd never know if they might have been following wild dogs, even a leopard. Might be if lions make a kill, they could be in the outskirts. Now, while we're driving at andBeyond in Ngala, someone else is driving andBeyond Phinda. Dean, let's head across to him.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, as you can see, we've come down from the top of that mountain and we're now in one of the more low-lying areas. And we've managed to find some buffalo. What a young bull crossing the road. And have a look at his horns and his hooves. Notice how shiny they are. Oh, it's the mist and the dew setting on the grass this morning. As he's walked through it and as he's fed or grazed, that water's obviously gotten onto his horns and hooves. Looks like he's actually trailing the herd that was just off to our left over here. They've moved off into a thick area only a minute ago. one of the ways to tell whether the difference between a male and a female buffalo, a bull and a cow, is the bulls have that heavy set boss or horns. It's a lot larger with the bulls. There's another older bull also crossing the road just to the right of this one. It's right on the road. They definitely are magnificent. They really are extremely powerful. So you'll notice this one's got a lot less hair on the back of it, quite actually bald right on the back, and its horn was actually had a piece missing from its horn, and also quite a bit bigger in size. So this is an older bull, and one of the ways to tell is with time, with going into mud wallows and mud walling and rubbing up against trees over time, that causes quite a bit of hair loss. It pulls the hair out and they eventually become quite bald. And that's exactly what's happened to this bull here. So we're going to see if we can find the rest of the herd. I think they've actually just moved into one of the thickets, but we'll go have a look. In the meantime, you're going to head over to Lauren.
We've made it to Chitwa Dam. The scenes are just spectacular. So I'm going to give you a quick update on my morning and then I'll let you enjoy the really unbelievable beauty in front of us. We had heart. It was so lovely. We're seeing the Djuma clan a lot, but just on the roads. We had an amazing sight when Ribbon, Comet and Ngwazi a few days ago together. And this morning we had heart to kiss. Just walking along the road, strolling along Central. So it's just good to keep tabs on them every now and then, because we're really not going to get to see the Djuma clan at the den like we used to. What do you see? Oh, I thought Davy saw something. Okay, now I'm just going to let you enjoy this beautiful but quite eerie morning at Chitwa Dam. Seagulls, I'm not sure what predators you're referring to, and I think that's something that I also need to hit myself in the face with sometimes. So predators, any animal that eats another, really, carnivores. And you get your leopards and your lions and your wild dogs and hyenas, jackals. But you also get the fish eagles. We actually have a fish eagle up here for you. Davi will slowly show you it. And they're also predators, battle ears predators. Tony eagles predators, vultures, well, they're more scavengers. But it would really depend what you're referring to. I think with the cats, if you're asking about the cats, they wouldn't affect them at all. Really, I mean, they're not primarily visual. They're not using their eyes to hunt. They're using their ears, audio, and their chemical abilities, chemical receptors, sense of smell, sense of tasting the air. Whereas a bird like a fish eagle, they are primarily visual, so they are looking down on the dam from above, perching up on a tree and looking down. But to be honest, I don't think that would really affect their ability to detect the movements of fish. I mean, you can see the mist is obviously rising now that the sun is rising and it's getting marginally warmer. But I think because the water is so still, I think the movement of fish below could still be detected by a predator up in the air that's still highly visual. You have insect predators. You have reptilian predators, you have amphibian predators. So I think when we say predators, you often think of the mammalian sort of apex predators, myself included. But really, there's predators across the board. But I really don't think it would affect the terrestrial ones or the cats that are hunting. I really don't think it would affect them at all. So we're going to explore around Chitwa Dam and see what else we can find.
So we haven't seen any exciting thing yet. I mean, always driving in the river is just a beautiful scenic route. But there's also quite a few bigger trees, and as I mentioned earlier on, if we are looking, even though we said we're looking for lions and leopards, all that, there's always other special things we could be looking out for. I mean, from the bird side, you often find the big or the giant eagle owls, the very eagle owls, and they tend to be up on some of the horizontal branches in these big jackleberry trees. I've heard a few this morning, but I haven't managed to see one. There's also this, looks like mist rolling into the river now. You'll see as we go along here. You might even see it in front of us. But it doesn't feel like it wants to warm up this morning. I want to stop like this and just look down the river, and you can actually see the mist in the back here in the distance. See how the mist is rolling over into the river. And even behind us now. I think what we'll do from here on is we'll go find a nice place somewhere along the river here and see if we can find a place to set up and show our viewers how to make a fire with these sticks. But this morning there's going to be a little twist to it, and you'll have to you'll have to come back to us and have a look and see what we're going to do.
Welcome back, everyone. to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where have a look what we've managed to find. It's a secretary bird. And what a cool shot. Have a look when it turns its head, you'll notice those long sort of single feathers there. That's its crest. What an epic bird. So you'll notice it's right at the top of one of the trees there, one of the acacia species there. So it will roost right at the top of trees like that. It'll also have its nest. It doesn't have its nest there, but that's where it will have a nest if it was to use a nest. So right on the top there. That's a good 10 or so meters up. You'll notice it's actually running its bill through its feathers. So what it's actually doing is preening itself. There'll be a prenal gland where it'll run sort of an oily substance through its feathers. It also then will get rid of any possibly dislodged feathers and basically just getting itself ready for the day. Have a look at those legs. Notice how long and thin they are. Its feathers only running down maybe a third or 2/3, of the way. And those of you that have been lucky enough to actually see a secretary bird move through the grass, they sometimes stamp in like a small area, in a grassy area, and then actually sort of just lodges prey and flushes out any prey. Candace is asking, what is this bird's wingspan? It's about 2 meters, the wingspan of a secretary bird. Weighs about, let's say, about 4 kgs or so. So quite a big bird. Obviously, a little difficult to imagine that now in this position, but yeah, I'd say the wingspan's about 2 meters. Talking a little bit earlier about how to catch its prey and use those long legs to stamp the ground. Eats quite a wide variety of prey. I can go from anywhere from small tortoises to different reptiles, even small birds like things like doves. You can hear that arrow mark babblers in the background. Lovely sound. Sarah's saying these birds are really interesting. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. They definitely are. Definitely also not a common sight. To see one on the top of a tree like this and busy preening and stuff. Really is epic. It's just awesome when you see those crest feathers on top of the head, when it ducks its head like that and quite clearly see the crest feathers. You see, it's just the one. They're normally solitary, but they can be in pairs of maybe between like maybe 3 to 5 birds, but normally solitary. We're going to carry on down this road and let the secretary bird be. I think in the meantime you're going to head over to Djuma with Trishala.
Oh my goodness, it looked like when I heard live from my director, all the buffalo just looked at me. Are you getting director's comms, buffalo? We're sitting with a nice herd. Not a huge herd, but definitely a nice herd of buffalo with quite a few youngsters. Now there's a small one. It's just behind. Can you see it there, Darren?
It's just behind this one.
Yeah. There it goes. Lots of little ones around. They're easy to see because they're much browner. Ooh, very, very nice. Well, Lauren's found some spots for you guys. Let's go over and see who it is.
We've got Miss Tandy Cat. Hello, beautiful lady. Just behind Chitwa Dam wall, actually. I think this is where Trishala had Marib's yesterday, if I'm not wrong. We're very close to that wall. And Michael Fleetwood did a lovely comparison of Hosanna at that exact wall in the exact same position on Facebook. Tandy's pretty much just here. The wall is just maybe 10 meters away. I wonder if we'll see her join up with Mr. Marib's. Man of the Rock. That's what Maribs means. And although it's spelled Maribai, it's pronounced Maribs. And you really sort of put effort on that last syllable. Tandy Cat, where are you going? Apparently your daughter was on Chitwa last night as well. What's happening here? But the whole royal lineage on Chitwa. We're just going to go forward a bit, Dav, because the other vehicle's going forward now. I had a good feeling about Chitwa this morning. I woke up thinking, Chitwa. I think I had a dream about it. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
You happy here?
Yep.
The boss is happy. So she's actually standing on top of that wall. Below her is a drop, and that's the wall where Marib's was yesterday and Hosanna was previous. Barbara, I agree. That is a full tummy. What did you eat, Tandy? See, she's gone to the edge of the wall. You see that? That's a drop down there. So unless she gathers wings, she's going to have to come onto the damn wall. Mm-hmm. There we go. Oh, I'm so happy Chit was working. I don't know how many times I can say that. How many times can I say this? Now, there's other vehicles in the sighting, so we'll just let her get up ahead and we'll keep following. But she is heading north. If she keeps continuing on this trajectory, she will hit Gowrie Main and have to make a choice between Djuma or Torchwood. I feel like she's looking for Mareebs. What do you think, Dov?
Yeah.
She's looking for something, and with a full tummy, I don't think it's going to be food. Okay, we're going to try and get into a bit of a better position here. Okay, we're going to try and get better views of our queen. Hopefully we can keep up with her.
The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
I love being a cam up for WildEarth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Look at that little one. Very sweet. This one seems to be the smallest one in this herd, and there's so many of these buffalo around that tiny little brown calf stands out quite beautifully. There are other youngsters around. You're going to see one feeding in a bit. There we go. Standing behind the mother and getting some of that nutritious milk there. Calves are usually born in the rainy season, so they have a gestation period of almost a year. So what that means is that they can mate in the rainy season and also give birth in the rainy season, which is great for them because they want to be able to have good resources for when their calves are born. So most of the calves that you're seeing here were probably born a couple months ago. Although I think that smallest one that we saw might be a little bit late. A lot lamaki, as they say. That tiny, tiny one, because that one's very small to have been born in the rainy season, which would have been December, Jan, Feb, you know, summer. I want to have a look. If we look at this one here that's chewing away, nice big cow.
Which one?
This one, right? There we go. We've got it in frame now.
To the left?
Yeah, with the big horns. She's just turned her head. That's the one. Now look at as she chews. Or not. I mean, she's decided she doesn't want to show us. That's okay. Now she stopped chewing even. Okay, fine, I won't show them how you chew. You could actually see, because she's obviously quite an older cow, she's very muscular and large. You can actually see the muscles along her face move very obviously as she chews. There's some other interesting things that I can see in this herd, so watch this one chew. There's quite a few of them that have foam forming in their mouths or around their mouths as they chew. You may see this as well with your domestic animals, horses. Ooh, that looks uncomfortable. That red-billed oxpecker went from into the nostril to onto the eye. Oh, wow. So that foam is a result of the constant chewing and the saliva mixing with the air. So it's not that it's unhealthy or anything like that. It's just a product of being a constant chewer. Anyway, let me send you back over to Lauren and the lovely Thandi.
We've had such an incredible moment. We've lost Thandi. I think we found Maribs, and Ngwazi is here. Ngwazi just walked right up to Thandi. Davi, I'm going to go in a little bit so everyone... Ngwazi just walked right up to Thandi. She snuck the scrub here. Go, 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 Maribs. Oh, you missed it. I was too slow, Maribs. Well done, Dav. Stations, we've got visual of Maribs back down on the new driveway. I don't know where Thandi's gone and how we've lost one leopard and got another.
You know what direction they're going?
Hello, you're not Thandi. But we were just following Thandi. Did a leopard swap. They're going to reunite. She's looking for him. And Ngwazi is right there. I haven't seen any other hyenas, so it appears Ngwazi is on his own. Let's just pop our nose in. Many of you are happy to see both of them have full bellies. Oh, yes. But it didn't stop him going for that scrub here. Davi spotted that scrub here quite a while ago. He called it. So I think the other vehicles are with Thandi. You can see the other vehicles. They must have followed her. And Maribs
is clearly behind a little bit. I'm just going to let them know. Dylan, come in. Did you copy my update? We've got Maribs just a little bit behind you guys.
Yeah, I've been telling everyone for the last 5 minutes that there's 2 Ingwes here.
Copy. Oh, Dylan. There's Ngwazi or a hyena. Maybe it's not Ngwazi anymore. You see that, Dove? He's trying to sneak up on the hyena. Look at that. No, I don't think that's Ngwazi. It's a different hyena. Oh my goodness. Another hyena's coming. That's Ngwazi. There's 2 of them. Guys, is it you, Sutu? I don't know if it's Sutu. Ngwazi! Oh my goodness. Oh, Maribs, you don't like hyenas, do you? No, you really don't. Wow, that was an incredible interaction. He's done. He's going to head to Tandy. Are you ready, Dove? Changing my mind about how I'm going to go through this. I think we can get through here, Dove. Okay. Hold your belly, suck it in. All good? I've got them up ahead. I really hope they come together. I'm quite in the mood to see Tandy and Maribs together. Can you see him, Javi? Okay. I don't like driving too fast when I've not got a visual of the animal. As soon as I see him, we'll follow. Maribs, where did you go? Okay, I'm going to try and relocate my leopard, but for now, you guys are going to head over to Nikki.
So we decided to come and sit down in the river and do that fire. Now, before we carry on, I just want to let everyone know what we have right over here. So you can see right here at the base of my feet is a base plate. So it's basically a sycamore fig that I have shaped into a bit of more of a square form, just so that whenever you do make fire, it's not round, so it moves the whole time. So at least then if I put my foot on it, it's a lot easier to manage. On this side of it though, let me hold it up like this. So you'll see right over here, I've cut a slit into it, so that when you put the spindle into this base and it moves, the ash will then, in this case, the coal will then fall onto the knife blade, which is going to be wedged right in here. And because of that as well, it creates a flow of oxygen. In order to create fire, you need heat, fuel, and of course oxygen, and that's what we're going to try and create. This here in my hand is basically a common spike thorn that I just straightened, and right in front I've wedged in another softwood, so another sycamore fig that I've tied up with a shoelace. I've wedged it in there like a key and then attached it. Now, I'm going to just put my knife in here. The knife main purpose is just to catch the coal, because if the coal drops too far, especially in cold weather like this, it might kill the coal. The other problem we have now is because of the mist that's around, everything is damp. Right next to me here, I have a bit of elephant dung that I've collected, but already just feeling this elephant dung, I can feel that it is damp and we might not get that fire. So there's two things that I'm going to try and do here. So first is we're going to try to see if we can make this fire using friction. But if we can't do that because of how damp it is, because any bit of moisture can definitely affect that coal of ours, and depending on how wet it is or damp it is, it might be that we can't get it from necessarily doing this method. We'll have to dry all the materials, because planning is very important when making fire with 2 sticks. And also the thing is, if you take too much energy in order to do this in a survival situation, you're burning up unnecessary energy, and you don't want to be doing that. Then I'm going to show you another way of how to do it, and basic stuff that you do find in your first aid kit, or should be in a first aid kit, of how to then make fire with 2 sticks. But let's give this one a go. So I'm going to try and use everything I can. I'm going to add a bit of sand in here to help with the friction. And then, so I'm just going to take that rock out and hopefully see if we can do this. If we can't get it from this, as I mentioned, I'll show you another trick. But because it is damp, we'll just have to see if we can get it. You'll see there's a lot of smoke, but because everything is damp at the moment, it's not going to light. And I can be doing this the whole time. You can see there's a lot of smoke around at the moment. And if I keep doing it, I'm just going to, because it takes a lot of energy in order to try and make that coal. So if I constantly try that, eventually you can hear I'm already out of breath just from that little bit. It actually warmed me up quite a bit. And we're just going to waste the energy because everything's damp. Another thing we can do, so I'm just trying to catch my breath back whenever I try and do it. It takes a lot of energy, especially when doing it alone with 2 sticks. But another thing to do is, if you have potassium permanganate in your first aid kit, so that can be used to purify clean water, and it can also be used
We have a roadblock here of this big bull. Sorry, we have a foggy bit in our lens. We're just going to have to wait for it to heat up and dry with the sun. This is what we call a dugger boy. A really old bull that's hanging around towards the edge of the herd, no longer interested in keeping up with the rest of them. Big, thick horns, thick boss, patches on his body where skin is, or where fur is starting to fall off, skin is starting to callus. He is an old boy. You can see he has difficulty cleaning up after himself as well. That's okay, he has a birdie friend to help him out there. On cold mornings like this, we have the privilege of being able to see steam come off their dung. And yes, it is a privilege, because I'm sure you are aware of a saying in a similar vein. I'm not sure that you might have seen it, so we have a privilege of seeing it. Might actually be a little bit difficult to see with, oh, yeah, you can see the steam. Well, we're now going to move off. Oh, look, there's a little steenbokkie in the background for us, too. Hello, steenbokkie. A little steenbokkie to say, hi, look at me instead of that dung pile. Okay, we'll do that.
So, just to get back to what we're doing now, so like as I showed you earlier on, trying to make it, especially in damp weather like this, I'm just going to waste a lot of energy. And you can't in a survival situation waste that energy, because realistically now, like as I said, we can get all the smoke, but because of the wood being damp, because I can actually feel both these are now damp because of the mist around us. So the thing we're going to use now is potassium permanganate, or the other name for it is Cornish crystals, and a little bit of sugar. Now, potassium permanganate, I always carry in my first aid kit because you can use it to purify water. You can use it to cleanse any wound, and also you can use it in starting fire. So basically, I always have a little container this size that goes into my first aid kit. And then here, I've just taken from the lodge, I've actually just taken a bit of sugar that I got in a container. But look, of course, this would be in a little satchel in my first aid kit because you never know what you might need sugar for. But if you mix these two together with a little bit of friction, it should start a fire. Now, I've never tried it in damp weather before, but let's try and see if that friction can at least give us a spark. Even though we might not necessarily put it in the elephant dung right now, let's see if we can get that. There we go. Don't know if everyone can see the coal right here. So there we go, we can actually create a coal. Now I'm not going to put that coal in, but I want to show you how to start all of this. So I'm going to put my knife back here. So I'm just going to take that off. So put my knife back here just to catch anything I make. And now what I'm going to do is, remember I said the potassium permanganate, which I'm using for quite a few things. So I'll put a bit of that in there. It doesn't have to be too much. And then on top of it, so I just want to close that properly, I'll put in a little bit of sugar. And then let's just put my elephant dung around this, like that. So let's see, it doesn't have to take too much, just a little bit of friction to these two to create a chemical reaction, and then hopefully get us a coal. Here we go. Now, because the elephant dung is also wet at the moment, it might not catch. So ideally in a survival situation, what I would like to do now is take this elephant dung, put it in my pocket, and then use the same technique in order to try and start that fire. But that's how we can do it. Let's try one more time, see if we can get a coal going from that. So the same, potassium permanganate. Oh, actually put quite a bit in there now. And a little bit of sugar on top of that. And I'll put the elephant dung, I'll actually take the knife out and hopefully it can fall into the elephant dung. Put it down, a little bit of pressure. Oh, see, that's why you actually have to hold it down. Let's quickly just put it back. A little bit of potassium permanganate. Add some sugar. Let me step on it. See, when you're trying to rush it, to try and get it done, it doesn't work. Don't know if everyone could see that reaction that just formed, but initially, like as I did that, there was a little spark that came from it. But basically, that's how you can make it. So whenever you don't have matches or anything with you, and you do have your first aid kit, and you are finding yourself in a survival situation, potassium permanganate with a little bit of sugar, and you can start that fire. One last go. Just see if we can get a bigger spark to show everyone. Yeah, now like, just looking at it, it's too damp at the moment to go, but basically from now on, what you would do, take the elephant dung, put it in your pocket, wait for it to dry, and then try this again, and hopefully we can get the fire. Well, at least it was a nice little experiment, especially in weather like this. Mpho and I will definitely try and do this one more time, see if we can get a bit of a better reaction out of it. There we go. But as you can see, the elephant dung is a bit damp. So that's why we're not going to get a good fire. There we go. Bit of a challenge this morning, but in any damp weather, definitely always a challenge. And then from here on, you can just add more and more branches onto it, and then eventually sit and cook a meal, or maybe even boil some water for a nice cup of coffee. I think that is very high up on the list right now. I think for also what I want to do is, also because this is winter time, you might find that any fire, especially if it moves into vegetation, could cause quite a lot of, it could cause quite a big burn. So what I want to do, take all of this and cover it with some wet sand, just so that we don't create a fire. Okay. And just grab all my tools here. I must say that was a pretty amazing experiment to try and do again. I've never done it in damp weather like this. You can actually see how damp it is around us. Let me put all of this away. Hopefully plug in if there's any questions. There we go. Thank you. At a stage there, I was starting to get stressed. I'm like, gee, it's so damp. Because initially when we started getting everything together, the mist wasn't that thick. And then as I felt the dung around, or the elephant dung, and as I started feeling the fire making sticks, because often with fire making you have to prepare everything, and I prepared everything in advance to make sure that it all ran smoothly, and I touched everything and I could feel it was damp, so I knew it's not going to be that easy making it just by friction. But I thought of another ways with that potassium permanganate and sugar, and I'm glad it actually worked out for us after a couple of tries. But I mean, that's often a survival situation. It's like, it doesn't always go into the ball doesn't always go into your court or always in your favor, so you have to make the most out of all the opportunities you have. But for now, in the meantime, while we're going to carry on with our search for some animals, let's head across to Tswalu.
I'm very glad that the fire worked out. I also quite like how we thought it was not going to, and then it did, and then it didn't again, and then it did. All that excitement, I like that. Also, elephant dung, when it's burning, has quite a pleasant smell. tele-access. We're just going to check around this area for some leopard tracks. Animal deep in Wuffelshoek, in the area that is not going to be able, we're not going to be able to broadcast from. So at least now I know that, so I can stop following my lion tracks, because I just saw more on the ground now. So what we're going to do is maybe have a look where Tavangumi was yesterday. Also a difficult patch to broadcast from, but we'll try. At least try and see if we can spot him, and then figure out if we can get signal there. And then also want to have a look, like I said, for some elephants. Maybe go back to that spot where those two bulls were. Maybe they've come out in a nice clear area where we'll be able to have a good look at them, and you'll be able to see their enormity. Let's have a look at these guys. Hello, you lot. Got some impalas here. Oh, I love watching them. I'm going to sit and watch them for a little bit. Oh, a bit of a fight, maybe. Alright, I'm going to sit and watch these guys, because they're going to be very entertaining.
WildEarth knows it is critical to help as many young people as possible to connect with the natural world. We hope that by bringing the wilderness to our future conservationists, we will inspire a love for nature and perhaps plant a seed which will flourish in the future. Over the years, kids from countries all over the world have joined us on safari.
I really enjoyed learning about the leopards and the cubs and how they hunt and live.
We got to see different types of antelopes, and we also saw our male lion's tracks.
I got to learn about like different types of animals in their natural habitats.
It was like we were on a real safari, so it was kind of cool. We got to see a lot of unique animals.
That whole safari live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Tiana, I'm from Johannesburg, and I am one of WildEarth's biggest fans.
Been watching for 4 years, DG here from the Ozarks.
It's been 4 years for me and I'm not leaving anytime soon.
It's given me a time away from the hassles of the city, and it's given me a connection to a place that has stolen my heart, which is Africa.
Last year we lost our son, and now we're just watching WildEarth. Love to all you guys.
You are reminding us of the role that we play in nature conservation, each and every one of us. You have reconnected myself to a dream that I had as a child to get involved in nature conservation, and for that I'm really grateful for as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Welcome back everyone to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where just a moment ago we did manage to find some lions. I had actually killed, funny enough, a wildebeest a good couple of hours ago, but they had then moved off into an area we couldn't get into, so unfortunately we had to move out of the area, but we have managed to find a live wildebeest this time. Still quite windy over here. A little bit cool this morning with the wind. It'd actually be quite nice if Nikki was able to start a little fire here by us, warm us up. That's a lovely shot with that fever tree. I know yesterday we had also stopped on the side of the river there, that Imzanen River, and we're showing the fever trees there. Just give me a minute and I'll move out the way.
The land, I think they say they're starting over. Okay, I'll wait for you.
Copy. The wildebeest we're looking at is actually the resident wildebeest bull. This is his territory, and what he would do, he'd try and sort of lure and keep females within his territory for as long as he can. So excuse the noise in the background. We're doing some conservation work. It's one of the helicopters. It's giving the wildebeest a bit of a fright. He's not too happy with that. That is a lovely scene. And these rolling hills, the western part is also so stunning. So different to sort of the southern part of the reserve where we are quite often. So we're going to head round the other side, see if those lions pop out closer to one of the watering holes. In the meantime, you can head over to Lauren and Chitswa.
did not get those comms, not sure why. We've just had the most gorgeous shot of Tandy and Marib's walking along the dam wall, but we're in a bit of a traffic jam. So let us just see how we can position. Got Mr. Herbie and Mr. Dillon here. So, what do you think, Dav? This side? I just need to check why I didn't get Elton. Can you just speak for me? I'll see why I didn't hear you. Ah, there we go. Oh, look at the two of them. I got you, Elton. I love seeing this pair together. I really do. He really whacks her with that tail. Mom, 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 I'm here, Mom. It's going to be very tricky to keep up this view because we are on a dam wall, but let's just see. Let's just see if we can get a little bit closer. Dam wall's naturally very narrow, so for 3 vehicles it's not the easiest mission. Let me just get a bit closer, Dav. I think if we go this side, we could get lucky. I'm just hoping that they veer out. Tandy and Marib's back on Chitwa. I'm not going to lie, I love it. Okay, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get a great view for now. Especially with the sun in our eyes. But at least it's warmer and I've regained use of my fingers. We're not going to be able to give you a view for now, I'm afraid. Oh, wait, I tell a lie. I've just lied to you all. Twitch, 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 twitch. Okay, we're getting space to go forward a little bit. Well, I agree. Marib's is such a mummy's boy. He really is. Gotta love mama, don't you? Especially when your mama is Tandy. They're going down into this drainage line. Let me just see what kind of view we can get here. This is a very steep embankment, I must say. I need to make sure I don't drive Dobby and I off. Can you see them? Oh yes, there we go. I see you guys. Marib's is quite... he's a lot paler in coloration. Marib, you gotta stop hitting your mummy with your tail. You just wax her with it is actually a sign of affection in leopards, and it really sort of strengthens their bond together. But I can imagine it's not so delightful getting whacked in the face with a leopard tail. And away they go. I think we can try and get round. Okay, we're going to do our very best to try and keep up with this pair. Sighting's getting a little bit busy, but we'll do our best.
Well, I hope that those leopards don't disappear, but we haven't found any other tracks or signs of the lions that we are looking out for. And there's quite a few vehicles that we're driving in that area to have a look for, especially that male lion as well as the rest of the pride. But they've moved, especially the pride, have moved to an area where there's no real signal in that area because of how dense it is, and it's also down in a valley where you can't really see them that well. So we decided, you know what, there is also signs of other lions. There are signs closer towards the southern part of the reserve. So we're going to be heading down there and see if we can maybe find some lions with cubs. And of course, as we go, we're driving past quite a few open areas and try and see if there's any signs of possibly wild dogs, maybe even cheetah. I haven't seen cheetah or wild dogs in Ngala for maybe the last few weeks, and I'm really hoping that today could be our lucky day. I must say it's quite cool. Like here, the mist is starting to clear up. But after that attempt at fire making, I must say I'm pretty warm at the moment. I still remember when I first tried to make fire with 2 sticks, because it's not I thought always it was a very easy thing to do, because looking at some documentaries and looking at how some TV shows did it, I was like, yeah, it's so easy. I probably failed 200, maybe 300 times before I made my very first coal in order to make a fire with. So it's something that really keeps you humble, because it makes you realize every day that it's not just, you can't just go and do it. You have to prepare, and there's a lot of factors that are involved in order to make sure that you are actually capable of making it. And putting yourself up for success is one thing, but then also being able to follow through is another. So quite a nice little challenge this morning. I had a laugh with Mpo. I said at some stage I was wanting to give up just because I didn't want to waste any of the viewers' time, but then that last one was just like, I got so happy when we started seeing that spark and it actually came. So I'm very glad we were able to show the viewers how to do it. It would have been quite embarrassing if we didn't get it, like all that preparation, and then, yeah, now I'm glad we got it. That's all I'm happy for. So let's carry on, and hopefully see if we can find some lion tracks.
Looks in the area where Tswalu was yesterday. He's not there, at least there's no evidence of him anymore. And no tracks coming into Djuma from that area either. That's ideally what I wanted to see, was at least some tracks moving into Djuma. That would mean that we could have some sort of clue to follow up on him, but also be able to broadcast him to you, which is most important. But none so far, so hopefully this afternoon we'll be able to. Good old Pangolin, he's such a beautiful leopard. Darren and I were just chatting about the beautiful leopards, and then we said, well, are there any that are not? I saw a branch that looked like a leopard. It's not a leopard though. That happens a lot out here. Anyway, I want to find some elephants, so I'm going to the area where those 2 bulls looked like they were walking towards, and where we had we were trying to investigate in that area before. where we heard some breeding herd trumpeting, youngsters, things like that. So I'm going to try Gowrie Cutland because I've tried Mvubu, I've tried Gowrie, but didn't find them there. So now we're going to try Gowrie Cutland and see if we can find our elephants. Reaction or how they move through the eating.
Oh, we're live. I'm a little bit worried about why I'm not hearing this. Something's wrong with my comms. Davi's making fun of me on the back there. Herbie, have they crossed the drainage? They have gone into this drainage here, so if they don't appear in the next few minutes, we will pull out. It's a very busy sighting. Lots of people want to see them. And of course, Herbie is our superstar. I'm so glad we still get to see him. Many of you will remember Herbie, but he was with us for a very long time, and he's responsible for a large part of my development, actually. I owe a lot to Herbie and have some incredible memories with him. But anyway, he's a leopard whisperer out here. He found 13 leopards in one day last month. Oh, look, Dav, the little wax bills and quilias are on the ground. You see them all, Peter? I'm just going to try and find out where they are. I think Tandy and Maribs have actually gone stationary in this drainage, which means we will pull out. I didn't expect that wonderful sighting this morning, I must say.
Okay, chapter up. I'm on at a demo. Where exactly are you guys?
WildEarth pulling out. Thanks, guys. Elton, are you still with us? I haven't heard anything. I'm a little bit worried about the comms. WildEarth pulling out of the sighting. You can just see a piece of trash on the ground, everyone, so I am going to pick it up. I cannot stand driving past rubbish. A bit of plastic. Alrighty. Plastic, I don't think anyone intentionally drops it here. But of course, when it's windy, it can blow anywhere and it ends up out in this environment, and I just can't. I have not got that unique ability to be able to drive past it. What a good sighting. Are you happy, Davy? Have your fingers warmed up? Okay, I'm going to let this vehicle go past. Morning! Into the drainage somewhere. Not sure. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, we're back onto the dam wall. We did a complete loop. And
And there is Mr. Hippo. Perfect reflections. I think after all that excitement, let's just take a moment to breathe together and watch this gorgeous scene. Davi's just peeled back his jacket.
Too hot.
Too hot. Now we're complaining it's too hot. You can never keep the WildEarth crew happy, can you? It's too cold in the morning, our fingers are numb, and now it's too hot. I'm also going to remove my scarf, everyone. Apologies if it's noisy, but it's too hot. I'll never forget the time we did CGTN, which was a slightly different show, a 1 hour show, a quick, fast-paced, wonderful show. Davi was in the Serengeti. It was an all-girl team, myself, Jamie, Trishala, and Djuma. It's one of the best memories I have, actually. And a lot of the comments from all of you guys were very positive, but they did say that you miss hearing the guides complain about the weather. I'll never forget that because it just made me chuckle so hard, because we do. It's either too cold or too hot or too cloudy. That's just part and parcel of the job. It was lovely to just take a breather there. It gets very busy for us out here too. So we're going to take it easy now and slowly head back to Djuma.
The annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marakele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, WildEarth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature. For many years, WildEarth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
I'm still on a mission to find some elephants. I've not been very fruitful yet. But I'm continuing on my journey in the north towards the east, so we'll end up at Buffelshoek Dam a little bit later. Maybe there'll be some elephants down there. That would be awesome. Or up there. That would be great. Also at this dip, elephants seem to like this drainage, which is why I'm checking it out now. I'm on Central, heading to the east. I've taken you to this. Actually, we went through this dip yesterday. So in search of elephants, yeah. Doesn't look like we're very lucky. That's okay. So it's this area here that elephants quite enjoy. There's a little bit of water, still a bit of greenery. Obviously being a drainage, there's more access to water for the plants around it, so they tend to be a little bit more lush. And the elephants obviously love that. But I don't see any or hear any. So we're going to keep on moving. See what we can find a little bit further east and north. Oh, look at this. This is a very beautiful tamboti. It's very, very pretty. Tambotis are such beautiful trees. And you'll find them in these thicket areas. There's another stunning one actually in the drainage, but you can't see it from the road. When you're in bushwalk, you can see it. But look at how it's tall. And then that nice canopy at the top, and they tend to have very few branches on the trunk as it gets taller. So as it makes its way up, there's very few branches, so it's kind of smooth, the trunk, as it gets to the top. But this one looks like quite an old one. Some of the outer bark has fallen off in many places, but it really is stunning and twisty at the top there. Our tamboti is toxic. It exudes this white latex. So it's not the type of wood you want to use for fires or braais or anything like that. Hi Leslie, you'd like to know which other trees are are toxic or dangerous for humans that we'll get out here besides the Tamboti. Black monkey orange, you wouldn't want to use the wood of... Oh, there we go. Lauren's crossed back into Djuma. Let me just turn that down. You wouldn't want to use the black monkey orange bark for much, and then the fruit as well when they're unripe. There's strychnine and butene in those parts of the plants that are also poisonous. Apart from that, there are other mildly toxic bits to normal trees that we have that we don't really consider bad for us, like russet bush willow. The actual pods, they're mildly toxic, but the wood is fine for use. But the most important one, like you've mentioned, is the Tamboti that we need to be careful of. So pretty. Djuma has some of the most magnificent trees. Tambotis grow in these thickets together, and you're unlikely to see one on this. To keep on moving. Like I said, let's go visit Buffelshoek Dam. We'll get there in a bit. Maybe there'll be some elephants around. We're going to send you over to Lauren, who's back in Djuma.
We've left Chitwa now, heading back into the north, aka Mordor. No, I'm joking. Djuma. And we have the good old zebra, who seem to thoroughly be enjoying the fire break. This is maybe my 6th sighting of seeing them, and they've always been on the fire break. Zebras are known to enjoy a good old burnt twig, but they're also sort of well known to utilize an area that's been burnt for the first shoots to come through of the grass. There's quite a well-known fact that zebras enjoy areas of grassland that has been burnt. They prefer the shorter grasses. They're not a fan of long grass, you know? And the impala are here too. It's not great visuals of them, but again, it just shows you. It's incredible the amount of life we're seeing on the fire breaks since the fires. The birds are fully utilizing this area now. It's easier access to the soil. It's been a disturbance. The fire is a disturbance which will flush out some insects. Belay?
Belay.
You're saying it looks like the zebras in Djuma like the taste of burnt grass. Yes, they are well known to be found in areas that have been burnt. It's actually quite common. But I don't think they're enjoying the burnt grass. I'm not sure that's what they're after. I wonder if we can get a little bit closer, Dab, and we can see possibly... Oh, no, they're going to cross the road. Zebra crossing. That joke will never get old. Elton also enjoyed it. Now they're moving on to the other side now, onto the Chitwa Little Gowrie side that hasn't been burnt. But yes, they will. They'll absolutely utilize this area. The birds are utilizing this area. It's been a disturbance. Insects will have been disturbed. Things will have been brought to the surface. Vegetation has naturally burned. So although it's used as a conservation management tool, it's still a disturbance in terms of the vegetation, and it's being utilised by many organisms right now. And if you think about it, it's an annual event, and therefore all the species out here will be used to it. They're used to it since they've been a young age. Cubs, pups, foals, calves, lambs. They will experience that in their lifetime, so it becomes something quite normal in the environment out here, which is a good thing. Mzuzukile. I hope I pronounced that right. I really, really do. You're asking, are their tail movements voluntary? Sorry, we're really having not so great success with our comms today. That's correct. They are moving their tails. It's not just moving automatically. They're swooshing it from side to side. And what the zebra's doing right now is almost like a fly swatter. So tails naturally hang at the rear end of any animal, and they will protect the sensitive regions. Let's try and see if we can go forward. The sort of genitalia, the tail just protects that from anything nasty creeping inside, any flies. So what it's doing right now is just swoosh, 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 keeping all the insects away from those sensitive areas. So the zebra is controlling that movement, but it also on some level is probably just a response that doesn't require much thought process. So it's controlled, but it probably is a little bit automatic, I guess. Especially in summer, you really don't want any sort of sorry, that male was giving us quite the show there. You don't want anything getting into those sensitive regions of the body. Another zebra crossing. We are really going to head back into Djuma now, and you guys are going to head over to Mike, who's got some tricks.
Ha 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 ha, zebra crossing. Classic. Okay, so we have come to where the jackal was making noise earlier, and we have been unsuccessful at finding the jackal. The jackal has moved off. We could hear it in the distance. Now, I found its tracks though. See this over here? This is a jackal track. It's not very clear. It was moving quite quickly on this sand. The much clearer one is just over here. You can see the back pad. You can see 2 side toes and then 2 forward toes that can be easily separated in a cross pattern. That's the distinctive characteristic of jackals. It was probably coming through here investigating because there are a lot of scent in this area, a lot of smells. You can see there's been a massive flattened area here, probably from a zebra. There's the zebra hoof there. Nice frog, the V shape at the back of the hoof. It was rolling around in the dirt, probably leaving a scent or just scratching, having an itch. I don't know what it was doing. There are warthog tracks here. Nice, square, boxy warthog tracks coming through here. This was an impala walking through to get to the clearing. There was a hornbill. This is a hornbill track. Hornbills have these funny banana-shaped tracks. Another one here. There's a ton of stuff. Oh, I almost said, and there was a baboon track as well, and then I realized that's my hand. I actually legitimately confused myself there. So there's a ton of cool stuff going on over here. Now, if you just look just to the right of us, you'll see there's lots of dung and tracks, the whole ground here. This is a sodic site, so it's an area of higher nutritional value, higher mineral content. So not much grows here, but many animals will come here to leave their scent because it's nice and open. And so the jackal probably also walks through here. Many times it's got a territory. It probably also leaves a scent around here somewhere, whether it's a small pile of scat or or not just urine, or a lot of things. But it's a really great place for an animal to be moving through. I mean, even if you just look along here, you can see it's nice and open. So it's the perfect place for animals to spend the evening when it's dark, hopefully not being accosted by predators. Early mornings, maybe catching the sun. There's even a nice termite mound just over there, which would be the perfect place for an animal like a leopard to sit. In fact, yesterday we drove past this area and Morris, our tracking partner, said about 2 minutes before we drove past, there was a leopard in this drainage line. So it's a really cool place to hang out. We'll walk a little bit further through here and see what else, what other tracks and signs we can find.
It has led us very close to Pangolin Dam. We'll be approaching in the next few minutes. Still hoping that there's elephants at the dam. I feel like I didn't get my full by seeing bulls this morning, though they were magnificent. I didn't get enough. Here we are. There we go. There's some hippos. Hello, you pot of hippos. Quite a few of them too. That's very nice. So as the water is getting lower, and it becomes, well, it's actually twofold. The water is getting lower, so it means that the hippos with young can find this shallower depth a little bit more manageable, because remember they're not floating and they're not swimming. They're kicking off the bottom of the dam. So this is more manageable for them. But also as water becomes a little bit more scarce, then there's a lot more competition, territory, battles, etc. going on. So you find them coalescing in these little dams a lot more, which is awesome for us because it means we get to view more hippos. And it's nice to see them here at the dam too. Pangolin Dam.
Mpona currently driving in the southern part of the reserve. So we've worked away from the east towards the central area and down south in pursuit of some lions, and we went to the last area where we saw two lionesses with 7 youngsters, and unfortunately they have moved on. It looks like they were cutting in a southerly direction because there was no tracks going north, so they were going in the southerly direction. So we've now checked towards one of the waterholes. There's no signs here of their tracks or even of them. So what we're going to do is carry on with this road and hopefully finish the block. So just circle the area. Oh, hold on, it's quite bumpy, this section. So just circle the area and see if there's any tracks coming out. If not, we know they might be just in the area, like close to the area where they were seen yesterday, because with 7 youngsters around, with the age is probably not more than 6 months, I'm sure the mom wouldn't have moved too far with them. Some are a little bit smaller, some probably around 4 or 5 months. And I'm hoping that maybe what the 2 mothers would have done is maybe move them down towards the water, or maybe even looking out for any hunting opportunities. But in the meantime, while we are carrying on with our search, let's head across to Lauren.
Just had a giraffe as a bit of a roadblock. Unfortunately, he's gone down into the Mawati. Let's see if we can just move around here and get some better views for you all. Just gone into the Mawati, and we're actually considering driving up the Mawati in a northwards direction to try and see if we can see the wigs. How is this, Darby? Boss says okay. Last week, I think, or possibly 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were requesting giraffes. Tristan had some guests that wanted giraffes. We had Dawn and Gabby would like to see some giraffes, and really, no one could find a single giraffe. And it's amazing how we go through periods where they're really not on the property. No tracks, no signs of them anywhere, and then all of a sudden they just appear again. They're really such wonderful animals. And one of my most difficult sightings to date, I think. I mean, I've had many. But I think if I really had to say one of the most difficult to sit there and narrate for you guys was a giraffe in the Masai Mara. I'm sure many of you will remember. It's a young female. We assume that it was possibly her first birth. And the calf, unfortunately, didn't make it. We don't quite know what happened. It was alive when she gave birth to it. But it sadly died at her feet, and she would not leave for days on end. And the entire North clan were around. And you all know I love hyenas, but it was just a very difficult thing to watch. The mom would not leave. She was protecting her dead baby for about 3 or 4 days. She didn't eat, she didn't drink. Lots of giraffes came by, stood next to her, and then left again because she refused to leave. And that was one of my most difficult sightings. And giraffes were always thought to not be very maternal. Of course they give birth, but they're thought to not have a very long-lasting bond with their offspring. But this is actually proven to be really incorrect, and science was pretty wrong about that. They are incredible mothers, and they do have a long-lasting bond with their offspring. And it's said to endure, well, it's said to be about 22 months long, that very tight-knit, close bond with the offspring before they start to separate. I mean, that's almost 2 years. Okay, we're going to drive through the Mawati and try and see if the wigs are home. But I believe Trishala's made it to Buffelshoek Dam.
Our hippos at the dam are very chill, but it's nice to see just how many of them there are. There are about 6 of them in total here at Buffelshoek Dam. But you know what I was hoping for, some elephants. It's like the hippo just sighed at me because I was not appreciating their presence. I do appreciate your presence, hippos. I really do. I wonder how many we'll end up finding in this dam as we get further and further into our dryness and the water starts to evaporate. Much more than it has now. I still don't expect that this dam will become dry, but it will definitely become shallower and smaller. Smaller in the sense that the patch of water that's deep enough for the hippos will become a much smaller patch. And any other areas where there was a little bit of water that we might have seen a hippo in, like Treehouse Dam, etc., not as big as this, that hippo would have to move at some point, I guess. And then you may find bigger aggregations in dams. So I'm keen to see how many hippos will end up here at Buffelsig Dam, how many more we'll see at Chitwa, how many will end up at Treehouse before they have to move. The water is their home, so it's such an important thing that they have it. And they will really, really make every effort to find water. And if you think about it, it's a really small home for a wild animal. And such a large one at that. So I hope that they have a good dry season, and that they have enough water for all of those bulls that are territorial to still maintain territories, and for cows and their youngs to be safe as well. Hi, Donna. That is an interesting question. You'd like to know if I've ever seen a pygmy hippo. No, I haven't. I've seen a baby hippo. Obviously, that's not the same thing. But no, I have not seen a pygmy hippo. Have you ever seen a pygmy hippo, Donna? I'd imagine that they're very, very, very cute. I imagine that they'd look just like a baby hippo. I guess next time I am in West Africa, I will go and see if I can find a pygmy hippo. So we don't find pygmy hippos in South Africa. That's so cool. It was like they were all voting. I want pizza. I want pizza. I also want pizza. I also have pizza. Very cool. All right, well, let me send you over to Lauren. Lauren has a surprise for you. I wonder what it could be.
Guess who's home? Good morning, Mr. or Mrs. Wick. I'm not sure if you're the male or the female. Maybe spend some time at your house? Yes, okay. It's so lovely to see you. Ah. Now, some of you will just know immediately who this is. Some of you may not. This is either Mr. or Mrs. Wick. We know this monogamous pair of owls. The other one's here as well, but we'll show you that one a little bit later. And this is their little territory in the Mulwati. This exact spot where I am right now, I have possibly spent a large portion of my WildEarth career here, because we were able to follow one of the chicks who we named Sebwig. Now, if any of you have watched Harry Potter, you'll know that the owl was called Hedwig, and that's where the whole wig things comes from. I was with cameraman Sebastian when we found the chick, so we decided to call it Sebwig. Lauren Wig doesn't really have the same rhyme to it, does it? And we watched Sebwig grow up, and I mean every single day, development stage by development stage, the first steps, the first flight, the first wing stretch, the first yawn. WildEarth was there. Never seen James Hendry or Davi or Seb or coo over a bird like they did Sebwig. Every single one of us fell in love with Sebwig.
And I can honestly say we learned a lot about the development. We have bird books, we have the Roberts app, which is incredible, that app, but it's all quite vague and average. They'll give you average figures, from 95 days to 125 days, this bird will take its first flight. So it was just amazing being able to have such an intimate interaction with Sebwig. And then, of course, little Olivia came along, and she was just wonderful. And Kurt and I saw her that first day that she moved from the nest, and I immediately had a sinking feeling this is not a good idea. And unfortunately, we never saw her again. So this year, we're hoping for the best. But I'm just so happy to see the wigs that we're going to sit tight here.
This is Jake Whitener, all the way from the US, and he is a holder of the Ticket to Dream.
I decided to support and buy the Ticket to Dream to help WildEarth in its mission of conservancy towards animals and the environment.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
And I would highly recommend that people would be involved in that program.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
Ever since I was able to get the Ticket to Dream, I've been looking forward to coming on this drive. It is an absolutely fabulous experience, and it's great.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website, but once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
We're still at the Wig's house. We've actually been invited for high tea. So Davi and I are going to stay and have some tea, Mr. and Mrs. Wig. I think this is Mrs. Wig, only due to the fact that they do look different facially. I remember Michael Fleetwood and I did a comparison last year. The females are slightly larger, but she's more relaxed. The male's not so relaxed with the vehicles because obviously he's not spent as much time with us. Whereas Mrs. Wig has spent a lot of time with us. A lot of time. And I guess the reason I told you that backstory earlier is these birds are very special to us. We know them. We know them individually. This is not just a spotted eagle owl. This really is Mr. or Mrs. Wig. And we followed 2 of their offspring. We know their little territory, and they're just incredible birds. Are you winking at us? Yes.
We're just so happy to put you back on camera. And we've got signal. We used to spend an entire drive here. And naturally, owls are nocturnal. Many of you know that. So during the day, it really is just time to roost. Warm up a little bit in the sun. Then when it gets too hot, go into the shade and just roost. Relax. Sleep. Rest. I love owls. I don't quite know what it is about them. We get a lot of owls in Scotland too. But I really do love them. Ravi, did you catch that name?
Fatima.
Fatima. You're saying it's so special to have them back. I don't know. I'm over the moon to see them. And the Mowati too is a very special place. I love being in the Mowati. It's one of my favorite spots in the whole reserve. Now we found Sebig on the 13th of November. So it's probably going to be a long time. I mean, we're only in June, I think, before we possibly see any chicks, but they're back. And we can start to follow the journey. We may see them mating, we may see the eggs, and hopefully WildEarth can follow the whole story once again. And they're monogamous, so this male lasting pair bond. It's not just for one season or 1 year or a few years. It's very long lasting. And there was actually a study done on one female spotted eagle owl, I think it was closer to the city, who resided over that little territory for 21 years with the same male for 13 years. So that's a long-lasting pair bond, and they are territorial. And Davi's just showing you how camouflaged they are. Look at that. You could easily drive past this owl if you were not looking properly. They are winter breeders. Which is something really exciting to look forward to in winter. And they actually can lay up to 6 eggs. But Sebig was the only survivor of that sort of clutch, and then Olivia the second clutch. Sorry, Elton, I have no comms in this part of the Mowati. Let's try and see if I can get this one more time. Roland Rog, you're asking about the ear tufts, and no, they're not. They are just feathers. The ears are actually at the side of that facial disc. So can you see? Their face never fails to amuse me. At the sides of her face, it almost looks like there's a disc there. There's a black line. Her ear holes are actually at the side of that facial disc. The ear tufts are literally just feathers. And they're called ear tufts. I guess that's probably a little bit misleading. But they actually have little ear holes at the side of their face. And that facial disc, you can't actually see it too clearly the way she's sitting right now, but it's sort of a special design of the feathers, or a special layout of the feathers to help channel sound, so that they have extremely acute hearing. Vision and hearing is their primary senses for owls. But those things on top of the head are not actually ears. But it gives them a very unique appearance.
Is the other one still there, Davi? I think it is. I think the other one is the male. But it's quite far in the distance. Davi's just going to give you a view. Can you still see it?
I think so.
Way up here. Yeah, there we go. That's the monogamous partner, and I think it's a male. But if you actually do a facial comparison of the two of them, they do look slightly different. Hello. We can see you, yes. We know you can swivel your head all the way around. And we know their usual nesting spot is on the embankment of the Mulwati. That's the one they've used a few years in a row, so hopefully they'll use that spot to lay their eggs again. And that means that we can follow at eye level. I mean, it's so wonderful to follow Batilda, but sometimes it's tricky to see her because she's very high up. But here with the eagle owls, they'll be eye level. I don't have comms, Elson, I'm afraid.
Annie.
Annie?
The male's smaller than the females.
Males are smaller. Annie's asking about the size. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my comms. The Roberts app, believe it or not, says that the males are bigger. But other literature will tell you that the females in the owls are actually bigger. But the app that I'm using on my phone will tell you that the males are bigger when it comes to the spotted eagle owls. But normally, owls can actually be classified as raptors because they use their talons to seize, to capture their prey, and generally across... generally, the females tend to be larger. Elson's getting Lauren and Trishala confused, but I am now going to send you across to Trishala.
We've managed to catch up with those bulls again, those really large ones. They were just drinking here at Timbuti Dam, which is just a little bit north of Mvubu Road. And now so when we saw them this morning, there were 2 of them. Now there's 3 of them. And we're actually, or they are rather, now having a feast on this tree. Thank you. The vehicle behind us, the delivery vehicle, they're always so strange to see and hear when you're out and you're watching elephants and you can hear this weird sound from a van. But anyway, I'm less distracted now. So what they've been doing is they've been pulling branches from this tree, which is awesome because they're so huge. And you can really see how powerful they are when they do that. I know at the moment all we can see is the tops of their bodies. But they are really, really fantastic, huge bulls in this little bachelor herd. Now we can actually try and move a little bit forward on the road and see if we'll get another gap where we can actually see the front of them. It's just that from this angle, it was really nice to see them pulling the branches, which is what they were doing. We might get a small gap here. Here we go. Okay, I think I've got the gap. Just watch, I'll have no... tell me when. Okay. Chris, you'd like to know if elephants prefer a certain pH level of water. I think neutral is definitely the way to go. So you're looking at about 6.8 to 7 is what most animals require. Most mammals, most certainly. But I don't know them to have a separate preference for pH. So if you're not sure what pH is it means potential hydrogen. It's a scale that's used to determine whether something is acidic or alkaline or basic. And we like it just in the middle, neutral. Neutral is around 7. Anything below 7 is acidic, and above 7 is basic. So a lot of the function of our body has to do with having that neutral water in order to change other pHs in our body. So I'm not sure, Chris, if they have a preference, but neutral seems to be the preference for all mammals. Let me send you back over to Lauren with the wigs. I'm going to sit here and hope that they come out.
We're still here enjoying high tea with the wigs. I've repositioned just by a meter and I think my comms are fixed. That can sometimes happen. Don't ask me to explain it because I don't understand. But I think we're all good with the comms now, Elton. I'm just checking my book, the Newman's book, because I want to see what it says about the size between the male and females. Bear with me. It doesn't say anything about the size difference. Nope, no explanation. But I do see it differing across the board. And just to touch on the hearing, because obviously we were talking about those ear tufts, which can make them look so much bigger and so much scarier. The ear holes on either side of the facial disc are not actually in alignment with one another, if that makes sense. So they're asymmetrically placed. So one side will be higher than the other. So if you were to sort of look at the owl's face head on, you'll see that the ear holes, if you like, don't align. And that means that there'll be a very, very small sort of split-second difference between the reception of sound. It won't be equal. It's a very, very small difference, but it definitely won't be equal when they're receiving sound in each ear. And that actually allows the owls to pinpoint sound exactly. And that's one of the key features that makes them excellent hunters. Darby and I are going to continue to sit here at the wig house a little bit longer.
Okay, so we are sitting here, or standing here, rather. This is an interesting little thing. Okay, when you see all this grass that's lying flat here, I don't know if you can see this if it comes out well on the screen. But we're just walking past here and I noticed that this tree has all this grass growing. The roots are like sticking up and the grass was growing down. And I thought to myself, that looks so odd. Why would the grass be growing down? And I realized that this tree has got a flattened edge on this side. This was obviously lying down here where we were standing. You can see there's lots of little bits of green grass coming through. This was a sheltered environment, but an elephant came with its tusks and its trunk, and it dug under and lifted it up and threw it over, which exposed all of this protected grass underneath here and allowed that elephant to feed on this little section, which is quite amazing. You know, we always talk about elephants being ecosystem engineers. So there was an elephant that must have pushed this tree down originally, lying flat here, which then created the sheltered environment. Lots of small creatures, mice, birds, lizards, snakes, anything could have lived here, insects as well. And they lived here for at least a full season because you can see all this grass that grew here. And then some other elephant came and lifted it up. And I can actually show you where this first happened. If you come over here, look at all this thick grass, look at all this thick stuff here. This is where the tree was. Okay, this is where the tree was, the roots were in the ground here. Elephant came, was feeding on it, you can see a bit of damage around here. The elephant came, pushed it over, and it landed. then over time, the elephant decided to move it over, and it allowed other animals to get in here and feed on this protected, sheltered green grass. Because, I mean, everywhere else is dry now, you can see. But if you look close in here, just in here, you can see a lot of green grass just in here that's cropped really short. This is what was protected from the sun and from the... It was kept nice and moist by this thick tree lying on top of it. And this has been fed on by things like impalas now, maybe even buffalo, zebra, anything. Such an awesome little micro-habitat that the elephant created. Absolutely phenomenal.
She flew. We're in a completely different part of the Mulwati, and the go-away birds are not happy. By Davi's puzzled look, I fear he has no comms. Just when you're in a tricky signal spot, sometimes one of us hears the director and the other one doesn't. But we're all good. This is actually the exact spot. Davi, if you just look down here on the embankment, gee, I don't know if you'll remember, this is the last place we saw Olivia, just down here. Yeah, just down there was the last spot we saw her, and I just don't think it was a good move. It just left her really exposed, really vulnerable, and we never saw her again. Mrs. Wick, I don't think the grey go-away birds really are enjoying your presence because you're a big scary bird. You're beautiful, but not to a grey go-away bird. I can't entirely remember what I was saying, but the ear holes are not in alignment with one another. Are you awake there, Davi? And this is on purpose to ensure that the sound is received just a split second different from one another. And you actually call this, well, it's a facial disc, but essentially it's acting like a parabola, if you like. And it's focusing all these high-pitched sounds that the owl can hear directly into the eardrum. They really do rely on their hearing and their vision. And they're also the masters of silent flight. You won't hear an owl in flight. Some birds you can hear that flapping, that flappage, not an owl. They've also got an operculum. So they do have a little flap of skin that actually sort of covers their ears for protection naturally. And we call this an operculum. This has been the best morning drive. I could spend hours and hours with these owls. But we are going to say goodbye to them now. Just in a little bit of a tricky spot. But at least we know they're here. At least we know we get signal. So we are now going to send you guys over to Nikki at Ngala.
Sadly, we haven't found those lions that we were looking out for. We've been giving it quite a bit of time in the area. And it looks like their tracks are all over the place. But they might have been like these lions would have left the youngsters in the area or in the block somewhere. So when I talk about a block, it's just an area where there's no roads to get into. And then would have gone out hunting. There were some tracks heading in the southern direction, others that were going east, some north, and eventually they started cutting back into the block. And unfortunately, we won't have enough time to go and try and track them down because we don't know exactly which one of those would be the freshest, because all of them were during the evening. It could have been that they split up at some point when they were hunting and eventually could have joined up together. But we decided let's carry on, maybe see if we can find something else on our way back before breakfast. We're getting past some open areas up in front here. Even like a nice zebra would be amazing, or sometimes I've seen in the open areas ostriches.
Educating our youth about the environmental threats we face is critical. Our future depends on it. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, is actively leading the charge. Their goal is to encourage children to fall in love with our natural world and to empower them to live sustainably in the future. Through their school programs, the children learn to report on environmental issues through videos, articles, and photos.
The YRE program has changed my life in so many beneficial ways. Being out there at the workshops, I was entitled to talk with others, socialize, as well as my writing skills and leadership skills have improved, so it has been great.
WESA is a membership-based organization. By joining WESA, you will be helping to provide valuable support for these youth education initiatives.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Well, bulls have moved further into that block, so it became even more difficult to see them, which is unfortunate because they were really, really beautiful. You get some, as you heard, they're in Buffelshoek. You get some really big, stunning bulls in Buffelshoek. And I suppose it's because they can move so easily between Banyaleti and the Kruger. You get these really huge bulls there. Maybe this afternoon, doing a drive into Buffelshoek would be cool. Check out some of the dams there. Kayamanzi, Big Dam, Nyala Dam, all those ones, that would be quite nice. Let's come to that time when it's fairly quiet. Hi. I was going to say, except for antelope that you'll see around. Have a really nice Nyala here. Just going to get into a spot where we can see her. Hi, you guys. This is very, very cool. Because obviously you can see there's two Nyalas here, but one looks female, but he's not. Can you see his little horns poking through there? Starting to turn to get his male coloration. It's so important that he looks like a female when he's younger, before he gets that coloration that makes this species one of the most sexually dimorphic antelope we get out here, because males look so different to females. But that male coloration is obvious and it's stark. So it's important for a young male to maintain and have a female coloration that blends in a lot better with its surroundings. Hi, Cat Swain. You'd like to know if I find it easy to track animals? Certainly not. That's not easy. It's something that's an art, really. You can learn about it, and you can, when tracks are kind of when there's a textbook example, it's easy to do it. But it's not an easy exercise. And especially in the vehicle, unfortunately, I find it a lot more engaging. It's a lot more clues. Let's move forward a little and see if we get a gap. But it is not easy. I don't think anyone's going to tell you that it is. It's also the type of thing that is, you can learn the basics, but then you've got to practice, because if you don't practice, you won't maintain it. It's just through that gap there. You won't be able to maintain it. Just like I said, like art. You need to keep at it to develop your skills. Oh, I love Ngalas. Very, very pretty. It looks like they might move towards Galago Pan, have a bit of a drink, enjoy the drainage on their way there. Lots of nice vegetation along the drainage there. It was really, really cool to see that young male just starting to get that, the little budding horns and the change of the face and the fur. Very, very cool. It'll be nice to keep an eye on him. He's the first one I've seen around that age. It starts to happen about 10 months or so. Just under a year. They start to transform from looking like mum to looking like dad. Well, it's been a very, very nice morning, as it always is, with all of you and out here in the bush. But it's a time when we head home from breakfast and you carry on with your day. And we'd like to say thank you for all of your questions, your comments, and of course, just being out here in the bush with us is always a pleasure. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you this afternoon. Bye for now.